Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast, another Monday night football. And we are here talking about everything Club Leon in English. We are very happy. It's Victory Monday and we are in La Liguilla. So there's lots and lots to talk about. So we'll be talking about recapping what happened in the very emotional game against Toluca at home. Louis was present there, so he'll give us a little bit about what happened from the stands. We have a lot to talk about, especially in that game. Talk about a little bit about our Fieras in international break, who they're playing with, what seleccionados got to go to play with their designated international team. Obviously, we'll have JJ Macias segment like every single week, and kind of talking a little bit about how the standings are in Liga MX, playoffs, possibilities, talking about just in general at this point where we are at. So we are live from different locations. Carlos, Jose, Louis, how are we tonight, guys?
Good.
Great.
Very happy.
Much better spirits, yeah.
Yeah, once again, we reached the 30 points mark. Since we're trying to
and 71 points for 2019, which is going to be the most. No one can pass us for that, for most points in the calendar year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Team of the year.
Exactly. It's been a long journey, but we are here, so we are a fecha until the end of the season, until Liguilla. So Javier is here in spirit. He cannot make it this week, but he will return next week. So let's go ahead and talk about Leon versus Toluca at home. Carlos, give us the team news before the matchup.
Right. So we had one key player out this past weekend, Ivan Rodriguez, who we didn't hear from the team. They didn't give an official injury update, which I think is kind of it's not good on their part. I think they should be more transparent with the public about injury updates. But Ivan Rodriguez was out. He suffered a second-degree ankle sprain. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So that's not good. But the good news is we're going to have some players recovering this international break. 6 players, as you mentioned, were called up. Macias, Godinez, Meneses, Mena, Jairo, and Tecillo. All deserved call-ups, in my opinion. And then we had Fidel Ambris, who actually got called up, and he made his first division debut this weekend. But the cherry on top, the guy who stole the show, obviously, is Nacho Gonzalez, El Corazón de León. He's back after being out for, I think it was over a year, but he's finally back. And
a year and 9 months.
I don't know, guys. Who here shed any tears watching him come back?
I got like goosebumps. Like I'm just like,
yeah,
Nacho's back. Even talking about it right now, I just got goosebumps. Like, because he's been so much to the team, and unfortunately, he's been out. Injury tras injury, and he never gave up. He never was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and retire. No, so it was very emotional, and I could just imagine, especially Louis being there present, like how the crowd was just like wild.
Yeah, tears were not really on my mind, just because the energy in the place was too much more exciting in a amped up kind of way than in a sentimental kind of way. Even though we don't really know what this meant. Is it like a predespedida? Is it? I mean, do they really think that he's going to play in Liguilla and make a difference? I mean, all that's kind of up in the air right now. But in the moment, it didn't really matter. Yeah, in the moment, it was just great to have him back on the pitch. And he's one of the guys on the team that I've had the fortune to run into in person probably more than anyone. And he's such a down-to-earth human being, as much as a professional can be. So, I mean, I'm just really happy. I mean, because I knew he's been working this whole time really, really hard just to try to get back on the pitch and make a difference. So I hope this wasn't just a cameo appearance. I hope that he can actually finish out the season and help us towards something, even if it's just, with his experience and leadership, just being there on the bench, even if he doesn't play all that much.
Yeah.
Definitely. Jose?
Yeah, I mean, he is such here for us. He's been in, he's been crucial in many finals. He's scored many crucial goals. Like one of the ones that I remember the most, it's one in the semifinal and the other one in the final versus Americas, which was probably one of the ones that I enjoyed the most. But yeah, I mean, I hope God first that he can be healthy and hopefully at least he can have one last season before he hangs up the boots. If it's not this, if it's not obviously in the Liguilla,
Mm-hmm.
like I would like him to at least have like a like he can start the season and then be more influential. But I'm happy to see him back. It's especially after suffering so many injuries time and time again, and many people believe that he wouldn't come back,
Mm-hmm.
be included. But yeah, I mean it's cool to see how his perseveration paid off and how the
Yeah,
fans still have memory. They know and they remember and they. It was just crazy, just like hearing all the fans coreando his name. So it's
Yeah, that was awesome.
that just touched me. Like yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, it just goes to show how much the game and the team mean to him. 'Cause, an aging someone, a player of his age, with absolutely nothing left to prove in the game or with the team. I mean, if he decided to retire, he would have done so with literally nothing left to prove. He'd done, everything that anyone would have asked of him and more. But it just shows how much the game and the team means to him that he's gone to all this trouble to be game ready one more time. So I think that's, I'm more than anything, I'm just happy for him because
hmm
to be able to have done that and to be able to get back on the pitch because he clearly, really wanted to get back on the pitch.
yeah. Like I know maybe there's it would have been like a little bit egoistical on our part, but I would have loved for, and I think the possibility was there,
Yes.
but he didn't want to do it. But I would
No,
have loved
yeah.
for Nacho to take the PK instead of
Le,
JJ Macias. Like,
Macias,
you know what would happen if he would score that goal?
yes, Macias le señaló, and he said, no, why would I take this penalty? This is not, that's not what I do.
Yeah,
It's not,
Yeah.
this is, I mean, that just shows what a good leader he is and what a good captain he is. Yeah, well, Navarro gave him the captain's armband when he came on because he's,
That
he's el
was
capitán eterno. And that's exactly what a captain would do. He wouldn't, it would be an unnatural thing for him to take that PK. I don't think he's taken a PK ever. and
I mean,
and that
yeah,
wouldn't, that just wouldn't be a natural, normal thing for him to do. And as a captain and a leader, he realized that, and he said, "No, I came on and I had my moment, but the PK is your moment." And I
Yeah.
think that's exactly what a good captain should do.
yeah. Can you imagine if he
And
missed it?
yeah,
oh, yeah, true,
The emotional
true.
roller
yeah,
coaster from
Yeah.
everybody. I
Well,
can just imagine
then
that.
again, I don't think they would have like put it against him. They just love him too much.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah. I
even
mean,
if he missed it, it wouldn't like nothing would happen to be honest.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like,
I mean, it would have been fun to see. It would have been fun to see. But
yeah.
I'm honestly glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't do it. You know why? Because every single goal with the tight table, every single goal counts, and the goal
hmm
Yeah,
differential for
true.
some teams is going to be a big difference. So if you have a chance to, put your best goal scorer up to get a freebie, you do it.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, you can't be messing around with. You can't.
That's
You don't
true.
want to be tempting the football gods.
yeah,
Yeah.
You just don't want to be doing that
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point.
No, I
we
agree.
did that
Yeah.
last season with Campbell and he missed it. I don't know if you remember that
Yeah.
one.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
true.
remember. I
Yeah.
was sitting
They
right in front of it.
they
Yeah.
handed him the ball over because he hadn't scored, so it would give him confidence, and
Yeah, no.
that was a tough shot for him.
See, I would have loved
I mean, that
more
situation
so.
made sense. I didn't have any. He just missed it. I had
Yeah.
nothing against that decision, but this would have been no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people like, oh, Nacho. I was like, I was just being very like this. JJ needs to take it. He also needs to redeem himself. He has, a goal drought. It's a penalty. It counts. Like I love Nacho, but I think this is separate. And Nacho clearly understood it. And I don't want to compare so much, but with Rafa Marquez, when he came back, to Mexico, no other team wanted him. Leon took him in, and he played, he better than anybody expected, because everybody was like, oh, like he's an oldie, like, what is he gonna do? I mean, he portrayed so much for the team, especially leadership wise, So it's nice to have Nacho back, and also how you guys have been saying, leadership wise, a capitan, like I think we need one like that. Obviously our center backs, have been all foreign, and I love and respect them so much. I just think it's great that Nacho's back and gives him more of a, kind of leadership influence from a Mexican, that knows this team and knows what it means. And, especially, with Leon's up and downs, especially going to La Liga, like animarlos más. And, it's great seeing him back, as, we don't know the situation, how it is. Who knows? Maybe he gets in tip top shape and, he could have a couple of good games next season. And after that, it's done. But,
Yeah, in our messages, I jokingly said I'd no brainer. I'd put him in over Herrera Kiwa, But I'll have to say that Herrera Kiwa played well on Saturday. He had a good game, and I can't say anything bad about him right at the moment.
Yeah, just like,
but
for me, it was a Ochoa too. Just like him too. I think he did decent too.
So with that being said,
you gotta recognize.
Yeah. I mean, I think we always do every single game, whether someone had a good game that game, the next day, if he didn't have a good game, we say it because, we're very transparent when it comes to our team because we have high expectations. So our lineup against Toluca, we had Cota in goal, we had Navarro, center back duo, Miguel Herrera Kiwa with Tecillo, Jairo starting at the left back position again. In the center, we had Meneses and Ochoa. And then Mena on one wing, Campbell on the other wing, which he started, and Sosa, and then JJ. So substitutes, we had obviously Leo Ramos, so we knew he would be back. Nacho, Pedro Aquino, which we thought Pedro Aquino would start because of all the rumors and stuff. It was said that he would be set to start versus Toluca. So that was a kind of surprise there when we saw Ochoa starting instead of Aquino. Chuy Godinez and Osvaldo Rodriguez. So those were our substitutes. But like a 4-2-3-1. Golden Meneses, guys. I'm in awe with Meneses. He had a fantastic goal.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well.
He's growing.
He has saved our bacon the last 3 or 4 matches. Protecting a result that might not have been this. This result ended up being pretty well in the hand, but he's out there giving his best, giving his all. I've mentioned the players that I have had issues with, but he's never been one of them this season. Because the effort is always there.
Yeah,
and lately it's been a fruitful effort too in terms of his goal scoring. And I know that he's not a guy who's expected to score that much. But you can tell what it means to him when he does, Yeah,
it seemed like after the previous international break, he came back and was on a mission. It seemed like because he has scored. I mentioned this in a tweet today. He scored in the last 3 out of 4 games for us. So, and it's not luck. It's not like he has tap-ins. He's in the position. Position at the right time. He's really out there playing his butt off, and I think it's important that we recognize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And Ochoa too. I've been so critical of him, and I thought he had an excellent game. On
definitely a better game this time around than the last game.
Both sides. He never
ruined.
He was playing all over. He and Navarro were kind of. Navarro is an outside back with contención tendencies. He started as a contención early in his career, and I noticed them switching back and forth. Ochoa would dip back and play more on the right wing, and they would kind of. And it worked pretty seamlessly. It worked pretty well. And then when Ochoa was in the middle of the field, he didn't have any bad giveaways. I thought his ball control was pretty good. And obviously the goal, that's not something you would have expected of him. That's just kind of
just kind of happened that way.
But I just want to say because I hope maybe he listened to my criticism of him and then saying that I never want to see him in the lineup. He probably didn't, but I like to think that had some kind of an effect on his play because he had a very, very solid game. I mean, you were never looking down when something was going wrong and saying, Ochoa, why would you do that? There's Ochoa again doing his thing, being mediocre. No, none of that. He had a great game. So I have to give him his due. I wanted to see Aquino start because I'm a big Aquino fan. I think Aquino makes this team gives this team a different look when he's able to play. But Ochoa starting and playing, I think he went the full 90. He I don't think, or did he get subbed off? I can't remember. But he was in there, and when he was in there, he looked good. So props to him. My apologies for having criticized him. Unless he listened to my criticism, and that's why he got better, then I don't apologize for anything.
I feel like that's what it was. I'm sure he was bounce back from last game to this game. It was just totally 180. So who knows? Maybe he's listening. So at halftime, we clearly saw Leon dominated, holding possession. Talavera just had a huge influence. We had a lot of opportunities where it was very unlucky, and we got, concrete and very, just put them away.
Yeah, he had like 3 or 4 blocks that were clear goals. Any other goalkeeper, those are goals. But Talavera, he's on another level. He was a seleccionado. I don't know why they don't call him up anymore.
Yeah.
But he's still
probably to get minutes to the. I mean, he's getting up there in age, and they, there's so many. Yeah. Mexico always has a long line of goalkeeper options.
Yeah. But he was really, really great in the first half. I mentioned that he was an absolute wall against us. We couldn't get anything past him. Yeah.
And again,
he.
Go on, Louis.
Well, no, I was just going to say that I mentioned in our chats. Toluca, that they're from the midfield on back are awful. I mean, they are terrible. So Talavera was certainly a factor, as you said. Le llegaron muchísimo, and he was a huge factor.
Yeah.
But any La Volpe team, we should mention La Volpe is no longer, as of today, the manager of Toluca. So that's
overdue. Long overdue.
We've gotten fired. Well, actually, the Matosa situation was a little bit different. But 2 managers who stopped being managers of their clubs after losing to us this year. But props to La Volpe. He's going to make sure his teams are attacking. I mean, he is the attack-minded manager of this generation, and Toluca has attacking talent. So, man, there were some nervy moments in that match. There were when it didn't. I'd say until Jairo's goal, when they kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit. But prior to that, it was nervy. I mean, Toluca came to play in the attack, and it looked like they were getting it on the score sheet at some point, and might cost us a result. Luckily, that was not the case. It could have, and I want to say that, as I had said in the chats, I think you have to give props to their attacking talent, both for being what they are, being as talented as they are, and going for it, even though the team has nothing to play for. Our defense has been wobbly, but I think that all those nervy moments had as much to do with Toluca being relevant in the attack as much as it did with our defensive lapses this week. It's tempting to say, they shouldn't have had so many opportunities. They're a terrible team. They shouldn't be able to get forward that much. They shouldn't be able to get shots on goal. But I mean, credit where credit is due. A La Volpe coach team that does have some attacking talent.
Yeah.
I don't want to rag on our defense too much for giving up the chances that they did. And the good news is it didn't come back to bite us at all in the end.
No, and I think that's what I was going to mention. Like, especially first half, like Leon just needed to really draw back. Like, I think it's the same problem that has been consistent throughout the games. Like, we leave our defense way too exposed. It's just on the counterattacks, Toluca had opportunities, and it was nerve-wracking. Like you said, I was just like, oh my God, like this game could easily, Toluca could be up. Cota had a great night again, like he can only do so much, but we have to really,
that could have been the
like we just really have to focus on, okay, obviously we're a very attack-minded team. It's just, with this the changes of in the lineup this season, have definitely kind of switched the kind of style in a way. Just because we get on counterattack, we do not look ready to defend.
Mhm.
And that's what
Yeah.
scares me in Liguilla. I think I've said it a jillion times in the past couple of episodes. So I think I would feel better if, obviously Chapito Montes will be back, and then we'll have Aquino back. We'll have, Ivan will probably have maybe in Liguilla, like 3 weeks
Mosquera.
in
Mosquera.
Mosquera. So, we'll have them
Mhm.
back. I'll feel a little bit more, comfortable, but we really need to work on that during Liguilla. I mean, we have, Santos, we have other teams that can definitely do a lot of danger and caught off guard. I mean,
No. Hopefully Santos gets knocked off in the cuartos. Yeah. Sorry, I know your boyfriend works for them, but
no, he knows
but
the real deal, He knows.
no, that'd be a great chance for a maldición del super líder. No, they
Yeah.
could get knocked off, and then we wouldn't have to play them. That would be great. Also, because Torreon is hard to get to for me.
Trust me, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a desert. It's a very
Yeah,
interesting.
you definitely don't want
right.
to. Yeah,
Go on, Jose.
Santos is definitely the favorite in this year, to be honest. That the way they're playing, they're like what we were last year. They're
I was gonna say that they're
practically
what
the
we
team that
were,
played the.
but Liguilla, we dejamos mucho que
Yeah.
desear. And we can definitely all say that we even with the lesionados and without JJ al final, like dejamos mucho que desear. And people were really questioning us, like, oh, where's the León from the regular season? So now I feel like they're super leader, they're playing good, but this is where it really matters the most. And I think we've said I'm hoping that we can definitely put on the face that León had last season. And I'm hopeful because we have a lot of injuries that, injured people that are coming back like right up the top. So,
Well, and if they come back fresh, that could be a huge advantage for us. I mean, I keep saying we got the Liga fundidos last year. I mean, pushed through.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, against Tijuana wasn't, that we didn't struggle too much, but starting with America, you could tell they didn't have the same energy anymore. Because I mean, they were pushing so hard for every win because they wanted to keep that streak going at the end of the season. This time around, I think it could bode well for us. It could be even better that we're not going to finish at the top of the table, and we're not going to have that pressure. We're not going to have had to fight so hard for it to keep that streak going, to have gotten to that point. I don't know. I feel like the way the team is now and the way they looked against Toluca, I don't know. To me, they had their moments and their lapses in defense that will come back to bite us against a better team. But I don't know. They looked readier. They looked readier to me for a Liguilla fight than arguably than they did to me at the end of last season after the regular season that they had, the incredible regular season that they had. Unfortunately, it's not about having a good regular season. And in Liguilla, anything can happen. I don't know. I just have maybe it's just this gut feeling that I have that they're going to show up readier for Liguilla. Maybe it's getting back the players healthy. Maybe it's the fact that they've kind of sat back and not gone for it as much. They've kind of, as I've said, dosificándose. I feel like that's a real thing, and I feel like they're gonna be ready to go by the time Liguilla starts, no matter who they play.
I'm hopeful
because
they put us through enough during doble jornada. So I'm hoping the Liguilla is like the makeup for this. Like, we've had doble jornada. You guys have expected us to get 6 points from them, and we've gone very little to nothing. Yeah. So I'm hoping they're like, we'll recompensar with having a great Liguilla, making it to the final, and finally getting what we deserve. So
yeah, and I think
right, Louis.
I think in Liguilla, Nacho Ambriz has been criticized a bit for all the experimentation when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
This season, but I think once Liguilla comes around, I mean, he's gonna use his best guys.
Yeah,
he's gonna use the best guys he has available. He's not gonna mess around. more than he. I still, I try not to criticize. I still think he's not entirely sure what is his best team.
Yeah.
Or he hasn't been sure what is his best 11 this season.
Okay.
Last season it was pretty obvious, but this season it's been kind of, with all the defensive lapses, he's not sure which collection of guys is really going to work best. But he's going to settle on a lineup in Liguilla. That I am certain. He's going to settle on a lineup, and hopefully that continuity, that stability, combined with getting players back healthy, important players back healthy, should bode well for us.
Do you guys think we'll see a preview of that lineup against Tijuana, just to get players meshing with each other before we head into Liguilla, or is he probably going to shuffle the lineup again, knowing
think
that
he
the
might.
players are coming
He'll
back?
shuffle
From,
it.
Because I heard what was it? Uh, I forget his first name, but he's
Raúl Orban.
Ramon Banos. Yeah, that they're gonna come back around Wednesday or Thursday, and then Leon is gonna play on Friday.
Yeah,
So
that's what
so arguably they're gonna have
Marco
two or
Medina
one day.
said. He's like, sorry, this is for later, but to what extent will the international break after affect Leon, since the players will return Wednesday or Thursday,
Yeah,
and the
that's
game
what I
will
was
be
gonna.
Friday, and who will they line up? So, yeah,
Well,
it's tough. I think he'll shuffle a little bit, because I
He's
was
gonna
gonna
have
say
to.
what Louis
Well,
was saying, that
yeah,
is he gonna have an 11 for the year and keep it consistent, you know?
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I
Or
think as far as the Tijuana lineup, that's a question for the Tijuana preview on the next episode. Not just because there's a lot of time between now and then, but
Mhm.
we just don't. We don't. I mean, there's a lot of factors. One, yes, they say we're going to get those guys back. Are we really going to get them back, and how and what kind of shape are they going to be in? We just don't know that yet. Two, we don't know what kind of activity our call-ups are going to get with their international clubs.
Yeah.
Guys who play
They're gonna be
90 minutes, guys who play 90 or 180 minutes with their clubs on these international breaks. Uh, compared to guys who just go to be bench warmers,
Yeah.
that's gonna play a role in who can start, who can play big minutes for Leon in the first match back. But there's just, we don't have the information right at the moment to be able to to reliably predict any of that, I'd say.
Yeah.
well, I think the one who's going to be in the best shape is Meneses, because Chile only has one game,
Mhm.
and that's next week.
True.
The other two squads, Colombia and Peru, they play
Two.
2 games. Yeah, so I think Meneses will probably be the more well rested player.
And see, Pedro Aquino's just getting back. And if they really want to start him and use him, I'm just praying
Yeah.
to God he
Yeah.
stays healthy and come
Well,
back healthy. Not like, oh, you know,
that's what they always do though. Like he just gets better from an injury, and Peru calls him, and then they play him right away. Like, and he then
Yeah,
gets injured again.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking that the most of the guys will. I think they'll probably play in that Tijuana match, and play and start. I remember, the Pumas match, which was the game after the previous international break. We were like, oh no, he's definitely going to rotate. And, especially guys like, I think the Colombia had played in Europe, so those guys were coming back, or in Asia maybe even, and they were coming back from far away. And he's like, oh no, those guys definitely aren't going to start. And then they started. I think he's probably he's gonna start those guys, but it will depend a lot on how much they play with their international squads.
See, I agree with you, but
Mhm.
this is the thing: is it wise to start it? Like, we can afford to not start it on like the last match of regular season. But
Well,
once we get into the Liguilla, if that's definitely we can't be changing anything. So if we're gonna change anything or give them rest, well,
Mhm.
it should be now. Obviously depending on who can play and who can't play, but if we're gonna give them rest, it should be versus Tijuana and not in the Liguilla, obviously.
Yeah, it's an awkward time for an international break.
Yeah.
The international break, then you
having a lot, actually.
come back for one more regular season match, and then the playoffs start a few days later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward, but
Like-
that's just that's just the way it is, you know.
Is it just me, or maybe it's because we have been double jornadas, but it feels like there's more international breaks than there were last
Well,
season.
it's because of the the Nations League. These aren't friendly matches; these are actually official matches,
Yeah,
and they have to be taken seriously, which is
should.
good and bad. Bad mostly
Mhm.
from my perspective because I want the guys to be focused on their clubs
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's where my passion really lies.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand having more competitive international matches and not these meaningless, boring friendlies is a good thing as well, at least in terms of from a viewer standpoint.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the game, Meneses scored, Jairo Moreno scored, Ivan Ochoa scored, which I think pretty much topped off his performance and getting a goal in. And then JJ Macias scores again, redeems himself from a goal drought, which we'll talk
yeah,
in JJ Macias segment. Total of 4-0 at home. Fidel Ambriz makes his debut. Nacho comes back. Leon wins. Leon gets in La Liguilla, and we are all happy to the extent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Toluca is a cliente when you're playing at the non-cam.
There
He
was like
looks
a
like
stat they were saying that the past 3 games or 4 games, Toluca has lost to Leon for, I think it was like over a certain amount of goals or something. I can't remember. It was
Mhm.
like they're showing it live. So I was like, well, the
Well,
condition that Toluca has been all season.
yeah, we beat them 3-0 last tournament and 2-1 in
Mhm.
Toluca the season before. So that's three straight wins.
So it's 3, 5, so 4. So 9 goals.
Differential of
Yeah.
about
Yep.
9-1 goal differential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So muy goleado, that team.
Yep.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and they used to be a team I was always afraid of. They always had a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
team. You knew it was never going to be easy with them.
Yeah.
But lately, that's just they've really fallen off. They need a whole restructuring. But
Yeah.
that's a
See.
topic for their bloggers, not ours.
Yeah.
Definitely. So 4-0 at home. León, like Louis has said, 70 plus points. Líder anual es el equipo del año. We won. That Tigres game was boring. So obviously everybody who was watching, Tigres game and then went to the León game, I mean, twice as exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The substitutions, what did you guys think? Joel Campbell came out, Ramos came in. What's going on with Ramos? Like, how are we feeling? Like, are we waiting for him to explode in Liguilla or?
Well. I mean, I've said this before, but the guy's better than what we've seen.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
injuries more than anything have hampered him this season. He just hasn't gotten any continuity. He hasn't gotten in the rhythm of things. I mean, he got off to a great
Good
start
Mhm.
against Pachuca, and it looked like, yes, this is the second striker we've been waiting for. This is the same second striker that was among the league leaders with a bad Lobos Buap side. This is who we want. And then the injuries have just hampered him. He hasn't gotten into the swing of things. He hasn't gotten into the rhythm. But I think Ambriz sees him as a really important piece as that second or third pure goal scoring threat in the Liguilla when goals can be really hard to come by. The matches tend to be very cerrados and
Mhm.
and defensive. I mean, and that's how you win in Liguilla. So having that scoring threat available is important. So he's got to get him in there so that he can at least get as much in as much rhythm as he can. If he's really healthy now, if that's not going to hamper him, the only thing that's going to hamper him is not being in forma, not being in ritmo. So he's got to get minutes. I don't think he should start, but I like seeing him getting minutes because I agree with Nacho Ambriz. If Nacho Ambriz does think this way, I think he is going to be very important for us in Liguilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was any time I wanted Leo Ramos to shine, it's in Liguilla. But unfortunately, I don't think he will get too much playing time because I think JJ is going to be our primary striker. And knowing that JJ left last year, Liguilla, and he could have helped us, get the octava. I think he was going to want that revenge. He's going to
Oh,
want.
absolutely.
Mhm.
So that's good for JJ, but it's bad for Leo.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean, at least we know we have a great option on bench.
Yeah.
yeah. If he can be that great option that I think he can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, and I
I
agree,
think
Louis.
it's
I think I was very
yeah.
excited. I was like, oh, we're getting Leo Ramos. Like, yes, like we need another striker that
Hmm.
has this a goal, has the potential that we've seen. So I was excited. It's just I guess unfortunate this season how you know Leon has been up and down and JJ and playing with two strikers and stuff. But I think we don't question his quality. We just question I guess the adaptation and kind of how he'll work in work his way in.
Yeah. Well, so I feel like no matter who comes on for him, Campbell just doesn't. He hasn't found that precision. He's going to be the first sub off the bench, or he's going to be the first one subbed off. I think until he can find that touch, he just doesn't have that touch right now. He does everything right, but then he can't get that final touch right, and I think
Yeah.
it's costing the team. So I think I don't think Umbris has confidence in him to leave him in for the full 90.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if Ramos gets minutes, they're probably going to come at the expense of Campbell.
Yeah.
Like they did on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah. True.
Mm.
Obviously we'll talk more about this next week when we preview against Cholos, but the possibilities that we'll have players back: Chapo Montes, Mosquera, Ramiro, John Cardona, because he obviously served his game. He played with the Sub-20. So that's another option that we have in the midfield. That I think it's a great one. I feel like we've liked so far what we've seen of him. So he can also be another option that we have if
Mhm.
anything, especially Leon getting all these red cards and stuff. And I hoped in the year, they get it under control. Pedro Aquino, we know how hot-headed he can be sometimes. So I'm hoping he can, really pull it together because we can't afford to be.
But yes, but I just think he's a special player when he's healthy. The team looks different. The team looks different when he's playing and he's healthy. And frankly, Jefecito was not. Yes, it was. Nobody likes to see him go down with injuries. He's an important piece, but he had not been playing his best football.
Yeah.
So I wasn't. It didn't see. I was not as devastated by the news that he was at. It was not nearly as devastating news as when he was lost in the Liguilla last year in the second leg against America.
Yeah, he was top level last year.
He was top level then. He was in good form, and we did not have another contención of his caliber or anything close to it available behind him. And they put in Sambuesa, and that was fine, but it's a different. The team didn't look as solid. But this time, if we have a healthy Aquino behind him, I'm not that worried about the contención.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have plenty of options. Something else that I wanted to mention was there was a rumor, and I mean, that starts off bad, right? There was a rumor, but I feel like it's good to bring it out because obviously, whenever we heard the news about Chapo, in our group chat, we are texting about okay, who could take his place or what are we going to do? And we had mentioned Carlos Guerrero, but we also had mentioned that he has not been called up, like what's going on with him. So there's a rumor that apparently Carlos Guerrero está castigado por una indisciplina, and Nacho has him like borradísimo from his call-ups, and it could be a possibility that he would go to Pachuca next season.
Oh man, this guy messed up.
So
is it as a question? I did hear about that rumor. Was it as a sale or was it as a loan?
I don't know. It was just kind of the tweet that I saw was they mentioned that like Nacho Ambriz and him, like there's something that Carlos Guerrero did, so he's being punished, and if we didn't see him in this call up, that there was a possibility that he would go to Pachuca next season, but they didn't say whether if it was a loan or option to buy right now. But I mean, I guess that pretty much started questioning.
They don't really do sales between the two clubs since they have the same owner. Wouldn't really be.
They'll loan each other. They'll pass it on.
They're either loans, but the loans, even the loans, are like it's not really an official loan like you would have with another club because it's the same books. At the end of the day, it's all the same books.
They just dump the players back and forth.
When we're talking about like Carlos Guerrero and then his disciplina, sadly when you bring that up, and it reminds me of another very talented player, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
Leo Lopez.
Oh, Leo
Leo
Lopez.
Oh
Lopez.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Leo Lopez,
Like
I was very
what's
upset with him.
yeah, I mean, but what's with canteranos and then indisciplina, man? Like
What are
why
they
is
doing at
Well,
Casa
Juan
Club,
it's not
man?
just the
Rodriguez and
canterano. It's not just the canteranos. I mean, there was the whole Gulit Peña situation, and the rumors are. I don't want to speculate because I don't know.
Mhm.
But the
yeah,
rumors
like
are that this indisciplina is something along the same lines as Gulit Peña. Like he likes partying too much. I know that was Leo Lopez's problem too.
hmm,
They
shit.
they 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 let they party too much on La Madero. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's I get it. Players have lives, but I think right now in the season, like, just be professional. It's a lot to ask for because the it's not an easy job. These players have everything controlled: what they eat, what they
Yeah.
do at this time, what they
Well, also
So
in Leon, like if you're gonna do that in Mexico City, there's a million places you can go and hide in the crowd. In Leon, if you go out partying, a lot of people who know who you are going to see
Yeah.
you. A lot. It's not. It's a you know.
you can run
Yeah.
into anybody, pretty much.
It's a pueblo grande. It's a pueblo grande. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think his last chance to get a call up is this week
yeah.
because Nacho's not going to bring any of the injured guys, so he's probably going to bring up a lot of canteranos to Fresno. So if anything, if we see him on this call up, then or if we don't see him on this call up, then that's it. Yeah, he's probably
Yeah.
That's
done.
it.
It's a
Done.
shame because he's probably the
He's
most talented
talented.
of the canteranos. And
Yeah.
I've liked what I've seen from him when he has played more than Diaz
Hmm.
Price and Ochoa
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and guys like that.
for
And
sure.
Which you know
yeah,
what? I heard you guys remember Julio Ceja, right? You know who
Uh,
who?
Julio Ceja is?
No.
Julio Ceja
Julio Ceja.
uh,
sounds
sounds
familiar.
familiar.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
You know what that is? Okay, Julio Ceja was a player that played for León and El Ascenso, and
Mhm.
he's very loved by the fans. He's remember well. I forgot what happened. Like, but somehow he anyway, what happened is he said that Diaz Price, like he said, like that he heard somewhere that like que se cree mucho, and that
Mm.
like he knows he has the talent, but yeah,
So, like,
Hmm.
his
se le
ego is
subió. Yeah.
inflated.
Yeah, starting to get minutes.
Mhm.
With being one of Leon has had this tradition like in the last couple seasons or few seasons ever since I think it was with Beatsy, where it would be a lineup of mostly experienced guys, and then they just throw one canterano in the mix and make him a titular indiscutible.
Yeah.
And that first it was it was Leo Lopez for a while, then and now and then
Mm.
Rodriguez, and there have been a few different ones, and then it was Diaz Price for a little while, and maybe that went to his head. Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Uh,
I
Um,
don't know. I just Canteranos.
that's one thing I can say about Jepecito. He I don't I, you never get that with him
no.
ever. Like
Yeah.
he started
Yeah.
playing
Juan
with
Rodriguez
yeah,
and Rocha too.
Rocha.
Rocha.
That was the one Rocha was the one I was thinking of. Yeah,
Rocha. I love him.
yeah,
Yeah,
Beauty,
came
right?
in with
Yeah.
Morelia, like, what could have been with Leon.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Rocha with Luis
Could
Fernando
have been
Tena was
Iván Rodriguez
like
and Rocha.
elegido. Yeah.
our friend MacPack on the chat said Leo Lopez had so much potential. Yeah, he did, and
I
I think
know.
I was very upset because
It's like what could
we
have
had
been,
him
man.
and then we let him go, and he was doing great. And then he came back, and it was like, where is your magic that you did in Toluca? And then now he's gone. So it's kind of like, unfortunate. In Good Company, our friend in Good Company said, unrelated question, but me and my dad have this argument all the time. Would you guys rather have the Liga MX be a mass export league like Brazilian, Serie A, or become a top 5 league in the world?
Mm.
Mm, both are interesting because if
Yeah,
we
both are
were
interesting.
sporting league, that would help for
Yeah.
selección because we
Mhm.
need more players playing high level football in
Hmm.
Europe, if preferably. And then to be, and it's always, I mean, we always want to be in the best I mean, the best league is among the world. So I don't know. It's if I had to pick one, I would probably go for being a sporting league because we need because that could be the difference of getting not just past the quinto partido, but getting even farther ahead in the World Cup. The more players you have abroad, that's just
Yeah,
like with Belgium. Belgium, like their national team, they had so many good players.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
yeah, that's what we need to do. I'll probably go with the first one. I don't know about you guys.
I agree. I agree. If we became a mass export league, can you imagine like Chucky Lozano leaving for like 3 million, Pizarro leaving for like 1.5 million, and they all end up in like these big clubs like where they're at now. Like at least Chucky is.
Yeah.
Um, and then imagine how that would help out La Selección and Mexico as a whole, like our image as in terms of like soccer, our potential and our status basically in FIFA. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of thoughts on this. The first one is I don't care about the selección. I don't care about international game nearly as much as I do
Mm,
about the clubs. So, on the surface, I would say, no, I want us to be a top five league to have the best quality at all times. I want my Club Leon to be the best. I know that JJ Macias is going to leave us, and I understand that he has to,
Mm-hmm.
and I accept it, but I accept it begrudgingly. It's nothing that doesn't make me happy to see it happen. I understand that it must happen. Does not make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, like you're saying, Carlos, if we're an export league and we're getting all kinds of money, well, not us, but the clubs are getting all kinds of money
probably
for these sales. They're getting millions of dollars for every sale that they do, and they're selling all the time. That's going to make the Liga MX better too, because they're going to have that money to
exposure.
bring in more younger talent that will eventually be exported later. It means there'll be a lot more
Mm,
turnover.
Mm-hmm.
It means players will come and go, but the quality in general could arguably be
quality, quality.
consistently much higher,
Mm-hmm.
much higher.
Yeah.
So I don't think one option comes at the expense of the other necessarily. And maybe also be maybe not top 5, but top 10, 15.
10.
Still
Mm,
very very high quality.
Yeah.
Still very
Um,
much worth watching for someone who's for Euro snobs. You know.
see, see,
our friend
uh,
Marco Medina on the chat gave us his answer, and he said, "I say export massively at first, and then focus on becoming a top league. We got
mhm.
corruption, so it's kind of hard to reach that top
Yeah,
5. They can sell low, but still retain part ownership. Hope they join bigger European clubs and earn part of the revenue,
Okay.
and they can still make good money like that." Um, yeah, I think I agree with what Louis is saying. I think I think it's a little bit of both. It's just tough with this Liga MX and the corruption that we have seen, and it's just unfortunate what's happened. And we see all these friendlies, especially not like in Nations League or whatnot, but just regular friendlies. Like all the money that they do make, you would think they, you know, reimburse it back into the FMF and Liga
mhm.
MX to better the quality of everything, and put the money in La Cantera and Liga MX Femenil and all this, and it's just like where is that money going to? Like
Yeah.
so it's kind of like
But that would help the league.
it would. It's just if
They
there
don't
was
do that.
if there was transparency, but there's not. It's like we see how the situation is. So I hope one
Well,
day.
it's the same thing with anything when you're here and you're paying for something and you're asking yourself, where is that money going? Like when I take my trips to go see matches in faraway places and I pay 500 pesos in tolls along that way, but there's still a ton of baches on the
Yeah.
caseta, So like, where did that 500 pesos just go?
Go.
It's kind of the same thing, but
Yeah.
that's, we laugh about it, but it's also kind of sad,
It is sad.
you know.
Yeah, and we hope that it
Oh,
betters because we love watching this league. It's like a league that,
mhm.
especially Ligia, like it's just exciting. It gets you, on your feet, just like there's games twice in a week. You're on the edge of your seat, waiting to see what's going to happen, especially down to the last game sometimes. So it's a great league. I love it. My Leon plays there. I love Leon. I bleed green. Like I just want things to better, and I think it's a good question. So definitely open the conversation to kind of
I,
think ahead.
I actually want to know
See,
what Mr. In Good Company thinks. I want to know his answer.
In good company, if you're listening, write us your
what would you
answer and we'll post it live on the screen so we can kind of get your view of things since you did ask the question. So um, there you go. While we wait for his answer, let's quickly just go over, like we mentioned before, international break week. We are unfortunate team that will be affected by it because our players are returning to 1 day before the Friday game versus Cholos. Even though we are still in Liguilla, we still want to, remain consistent with our quality of game, thinking ahead of Liguilla, next that week, following week after, we have 2 games, kind of seeing who our opponent is. It's still up in the air a little bit. Carlos did have mentioned Pedro Aquino, Jesus Godinez, Angel Mena, John Meneses, JJ Macias, Tecillo, and Jairo. So they'll have their international week, and I think In Good Company did respond, waiting for it to pop so I can add it to the screen. But that'll be our international break. So we'll definitely talk a little bit more about how the international break went for Fieras next week when we preview the Cholos game. Anything you guys want to add during the international break segment?
Just no injuries, no overexertion.
please.
I hope they
need
all
any
go
more.
well because yeah, I hope it all goes well for them. If they, I hope if they want to play, that they get to play and that it all goes well, because I know this is important thing for every single one of them. Personally, I mean, it would be for any player, even though it's not personally that important to me to see them there. I know that it is important to them, so I hope I hope they have a good showing, but I mostly hope they don't get hurt.
Yeah, and I hope some of our guys that are coming to Fresno also get some good playing time, like La Ramos, Nacho Gonzalez, Osvaldo Rodriguez, like these guys that don't normally start some of the games in Liga. I hope they get some playing time because we are playing Cruz Azul, and I don't know if I think they're
Which,
bringing their A squad, right?
by the way,
I mean, yeah, they
do you know
probably
what
will.
happened to Jarro?
Yeah.
To
Sorry.
who?
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Jarro, is
Who?
he injured?
Oh,
That's
we
kind of
didn't
a
know.
mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a tweet that he was injured.
Oh,
There
okay.
was a tweet out there that said, I think it was Cheque Gasca who posted it. He said something about his shoulder, collarbone, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Something like I thought
Yeah,
something
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah. But
because
I was
yeah,
confused since I
yeah,
hadn't
because
seen any.
when
There
they
hadn't been any.
mentioned
Go ahead.
yeah because when they mentioned that rumor about the player that was gonna be like going out of Leon last season, like Cody said, like because I think it was Cheque that said like whoever you don't see in the call up, that's
Uh-huh.
in the next call up that's who's gonna go out. So for a minute I thought it was Jarva. I was
Oh
like, wait,
no.
is it Jarva
Well,
that's going
I
out?
think I still think he might, even if he was injured.
But see, then we have the CONCACAF next year.
I hope he
So
doesn't because
Yeah, but the thing
we're
about
gonna interview.
The CONCACAF is not like the Copa. The CONCACAF
yeah, I
generally is
agree.
first choice lineups.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's not.
especially now that
Then usually when you
now that
play
there's no
tournament,
yeah.
you wanna have one
Well,
in
in Copa, yes, obviously, but the Conca Champions is it's a much, it's a pesa mucho más, and so those tend to be first choice lineups, especially now with the format since a couple years ago, where it's all elimination. There's no group stage or anything like that. It's all home and home elimination rounds. So I mean, I don't think we should be too concerned about keeping him to have him available for CONCACAF because he probably wouldn't play anyway. That's just my thinking.
I didn't mean for CONCACAF though. Like I meant
Mhm.
if we're gonna play our best starting lineup in CONCACAF, then when Cota is playing over there, then we obviously have to have someone that can play on Liga MX when
mhm.
Cota can play, so he can back up Cota when he's playing
Yeah.
on
Yes. Yeah.
matches in CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Then I think we do need someone.
Yeah.
'Cause because Pozos, it's the third uh goalkeeper for Leon, but has he ever played a Liga MX match?
Yeah. You
That's
don't
what
want
I
to throw
mean.
him into a situation he's not prepared for. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Just on a brief Williams side note, we don't have to to talk a lot about him, but I do think he should.
Right.
I do think. I mean, I love the guy. He's been on the team almost as long as Nacho and Chapo have, and he's only one of one of only three. The other two being those guys who's been with the team since the glory days of the bicampeonato.
Navarrito too.
He's fallen off the. He's fallen. Oh, and Navarro, yes, he's fallen off the radar a lot. He hasn't looked nearly back then, and that's not. That's not an encouraging thing for a goalkeeper who's supposed to get, considerably better with age. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's time for him to go to MLS and be one of the best keepers in MLS. I think he would kill it up there. And I think there are a lot of teams that could use him. And here he's just not going to get the playing time he needs and arguably deserves.
Guys,
Anymore.
quick 10-second break real quick, because we have a special viewer on the podcast. Marcelo Balboa is watching us.
Shout out to
really?
Marcelo Balboa. Yeah. Thank you for
Thank you for
joining.
watching.
Leyenda del Club León.
Exactly. Thank you for watching. We're putting everything we can to put out this content in English. So shout out
And
to you.
USMNT shout out. I think I'm the only one here who supports the USMNT. But shout out to Marcelo Balboa.
I
Yeah.
was sorry.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the JJ Macias segment. JJ Macias segment. We have every single podcast talking about JJ Macias, everything, rumors, how he's doing, anything else that comes up from him. So a few of, I think I saw tres goleadores mexicanos in all competition, and JJ is one of them. So first is Carlos Vela with 38 goals, Jimenez with 30 goals, and JJ Macias with 22 goals. After that, you see the breakdown. Henry Martin with 17 goals, Alan Pulido 15, Uriel Antuna 12, Lozano 10, Pocho Guzman 10, Vega 10, Chicharito 9, and HH 8. So those are the three máximo goleadores mexicanos in all competitions right now. And JJ Macias happens to be in the top three. So, that still says a lot about him. It's just unlucky that he has had this drought until this past weekend, because if not, I mean, those numbers would have been more.
Yeah.
I don't think he's started with last season because this weekend versus Toluca he matched his 8-goal tally that from regular season last season.
Mm-hmm.
But those 8 goals last season on the Clausura 2019, they were all from, I believe, from a play, so it wasn't from a penalty. And 4 of the goals this season, I think it has been from the picket spot, which is it's not. There's still goals. It's just he had more goals from open play rather than from PK last season. And he still has those movements. He just hasn't been able to put it away as much as he did, I think.
Yeah, something I've noticed about him this season more than last season is the fact that he drops a lot to receive the ball, and then he distributes. Last season he was mostly okay. The wing players are going to push, and then I'm just going to tap it in, or I'm going to.
Yes, he was definitely a target striker almost exclusively last season. This year he's expanded his game a little bit, which has been. It's been fun to see when it's working. Yeah,
I think we said it last episode, because we talked about JJ Macias segment, and Lou was bringing up about JJ's kind of goal drought, and we've mentioned that this season he's definitely taken more of that role, the recuperando, kind of being that other on the wing, open, and kind of serving to everybody else. So it's nice to see that. It's just we really know his capability in front of a goal and how he creates movements and to this marca, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think you should look to do that. You should let it's a cliche to say this, but he should let the game come to him a little bit more. Like he shouldn't look to play outside of his best strengths too frequently. Like, I mean, I remember that great assist against Necaxa. That seemed natural, but that shouldn't mean he should be looking to do that all the time. We have other players who are more suited to that. I still think his best role is primarily as a target striker. I think that's what he should look to do. If he can get in some of those plays, getting a little farther out wide and it's effective. okay, but he shouldn't. I don't think he should be looking to do that too much.
Yeah, yeah. He's more dangerous when he's inside the area rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
outside of it.
Well, he's the most dangerous inside the area that we have. So to pull him outside of
Mhm.
there isn't going to be advantageous that
Right.
often.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It undermines our attack.
And
Yeah.
kudos to him for picking up that ball and saying, "Hey, I'm going to shoot this on against that Toluca game."
Yes, and just to say, those who were criticizing that he should have let Nacho do it, there was a conversation, and Nacho told him no. So that
Yeah.
so there's no reason to criticize, because there were people who were getting on and criticizing. Oh no, that
Yeah.
was bad. That was classless.
See,
He should have let Nacho. There was a conversation. They talked about it, and Nacho didn't want to do it. So that should
yeah.
expunge exonerate Macias of any criticism in that
Yeah.
in that sense. Yeah.
Definitely.
See, like how one fan commented, I think on Twitter, if if he wouldn't like, if the fans would have seen that he denied to give Nacho the ball,
Uh-huh.
they would have like it
Lost it.
ate him alive. Like yeah,
Yeah.
roasted him like
No,
yeah.
that wouldn't have. That just simply would not have happened. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that Nacho Gonzalez is a player that everybody, but especially Macias, is an up and coming Mexicano, respects wholeheartedly. That's not something that would have happened. It just simply would not have happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Definitely. So JJ top goleador with the others. So far 8 goles. So we can definitely expect more, especially in the year, as we mentioned before, redeeming himself and getting us to a
Yes.
final where he should have been there last season. But we're not going to talk about that. We already have
No.
talked so much about that.
No. But the biggest news with him probably is the rumors about the sale being finalized, and what that means
Yeah.
for him and for
For
the
him,
team.
for us.
I think if there was any hope of him continuing next season or beyond this season with Leon, I think a sale gives us a little bit more hope, perhaps, of that being the case.
Hmm.
At least another 6 months or maybe even a year. I would love to see that. I just don't think if the plan for him to go to Europe right away, there's no incentive for Chivas to sell, because they would want to recover as much of the money from that sale as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't
Mhm.
think, again, I don't think there's any way he ever plays in a Chivas uniform again. At least maybe he could retire there or something. But anytime soon, I don't see that happening. So I think the fact that Leon is really, really pushing for the sale to be finalized gives us a little bit of hope that maybe he could stay a little bit longer. And even if he doesn't, or even if it's only 6 months, the good news is that all the money from the eventual sale to a European club, which should be even more than the sale from Chivas, that money will all be with Leon.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what's the offer? Is it cash considerations?
So
and-
his asking price was 15 million originally, obviously,
Mhm.
and then now they're offering 7 million plus Aguirre from Pachuca,
Okay.
which is great. Obviously, we don't lose any players and we don't have to pay as
Mhm.
much.
But then
Yeah.
wasn't there also a saying about that we would get Mayorga, and then that
Yeah,
that I
I
don't
think
know.
I heard that too.
Mhm.
yeah, we would
I
give
heard about that
Mayorga
like recently.
and JJ, and then we
Yeah.
would give up Eric Aguirre, and then Chivas will still have to pay 6 million to
Wow.
extend the loan or something like that. It was a rumor. This is why we have this segment, because rumors are
Yeah.
in week. They're always different
Probably in
single week.
every week.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, if
So
we can get 6 million out of that, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
that would really,
Right.
help.
Without losing any players. Well,
Yeah.
We're
if
still
they want to
winning.
take like Ochoa, well, I can't even say Ochoa anymore. I'm still high on him for the game that he had. I would have said Ochoa, but until Saturday's game, he played well. I cannot rag. I refuse to rag on him anymore.
Yeah. No.
But they can have some of our players that we don't want.
Just not that one.
I mean,
Yeah.
Carlos Guerrero.
Luis doesn't want a Guerrero, so does he want to go over there?
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see how it'll, close up in December. What's going to be the actual purchase, the swaps, the money, and all that. So, I
Mhm.
mean,
And if it means that JJ still will play another match, will play a
yeah,
match in 2020 and beyond with Club Leon, because it's not guaranteed. All I'm saying is, from my point of view, there's a slightly increased chance of that happening, but nothing for sure.
yeah.
We still don't know.
We
Yeah.
just have to see how it develops. Obviously, Sevilla, Dortmund have been in, kind of the eye
Yeah.
of the whole transfer. So I don't know. I have a good feeling it's Dortmund. Like I just do.
Hmm.
But when
But
he's
Yeah,
ready,
I hope
when
it's
he's ready,
when
German.
he's ready,
German,
when he's
German is
ready,
always
because
good.
yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that. There's already rumors of Lainez coming back to America on loan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
heard
like
about that.
that is the definition of a failed attempt
fracaso.
to go to Europe. Like, that is exactly what you don't want to see happen to Macias.
and we want to
Yeah,
avoid that,
Well,
and
yeah,
if it means like, like I said, staying another 6 months up to a year, and if the club agrees he needs to still, develop and kind of get more of that experience, then why not? And I honestly, JJ in his head mentally, I don't, he's not like rushed to leave right now,
no, I don't think he doesn't
Mhm.
strike me as the type who's going to pout and complain and be a distraction because he didn't get his way
Yeah.
by not going right away to Europe.
I think he knows when the time's right, it will be right, and he will go, and it'll all work out somehow. So, I think that's what suits me a lot with his mentality. And people can criticize it, but I love it. I love how he thinks and his confidence, and he's just he responds on the field, and people can rain down on him and
Mhm.
whatnot, and even that some Chivas fans
No,
obviously won't
he
do
can
that,
handle it. He's if there's one thing he strikes me as, it's mature beyond his years. Again, another cliche, but
yeah.
he strikes me as mature beyond his years. I think he can handle anything that's thrown at him in terms of shade or criticism, which is why I don't have a problem saying that, I think as a titular indiscutible, even at age 20, that we have high expectations for him.
Yeah, because we
I
know
know.
his quality.
Yeah,
So
and I know that if he happens to hear me say that, or even not just me, anyone criticizing him, I know he can handle it and use it to motivate himself.
definitely, he knows where home is, Leon.
Yeah.
He's kissed the crest before. He knows
Um,
home is Leon, and like Louis said, he will not be wearing a Chivas jersey anytime soon. So, um, that is that. So, that was the JJ Macias segment, guys. We have every single week, so we'll definitely have the JJ Macias segment next week. Anything that comes up, we will talk about it during that segment. Now we're leaning towards the end of the pod. Liguilla at the moment. Santos in first place with 36 points. Necaxa second with 31. America with 31. Leon in fourth with 30. Monterrey in eighth with 24. Morelia in seventh with 27. Querétaro in sixth with 28. And Tigres in fifth. So right now the matchup would look Santos Monterrey at the moment. Necaxa Morelia.
mhm.
America Querétaro and Leon Tigres
Oof,
at the moment.
I want that rematch.
Leave it like that. Leave it like that.
I don't,
This is
Carlos. I
fine.
want
No,
Tigres to get eliminated before we have to play them. Yeah, dude. I
I
don't.
agree.
It's
I'm
just
Louis.
look. Here's the funny thing. First of all, I think the standings. Yes, those are the standings now. But win, lose, or draw for Leon on the last day, those standings will not be the same,
Mhm.
and
yeah,
the matchup will probably not be the same. It's just there's too many teams close together, too many teams fighting to get those last spots, and so what it is now is probably not going to be what it is. But it's interesting that if we had lost or drawn in that last game, we'd still be in fifth, or we'd be in sixth probably. We'd still be in
Mhm.
sixth with a matchup against like Necaxa or Querétaro.
hmm
As
Yeah.
winning, we move up to fourth, but now the matchup is with Tigres. Is that better? I,
no.
I, I,
Everything's too close right now.
you want to win every game that you play. You want all the points available to you, but it's just funny how that works. How getting a favorable result can give you potentially a much less favorable matchup
Matchup.
in the
Yeah.
Liguilla. I have no interest in facing Tigres.
No,
Yeah,
and for many reasons.
it would be
Louis.
it would be great to beat them. Obviously, we never have in Liguilla, at least not recently, and that's been, I think, it's whatever, three. We've
Yeah, at least
been eliminated by
in
them
the last
in
two
our last three Liguillas.
liguillas.
We've been eliminated by them.
hmm
So yes, it would be wonderful to beat them. I want the easiest path to the finish. It's not a championship mentality, but I want the easiest path to the finish, and the easiest path to the finish does not go through the Estadio Universitario.
All right, so that
Yeah.
kind of goes back. So
Where
this
does it
kind of
go
goes
to?
back to our next game against Tijuana, which
Mhm.
is our lineups. We were talking about who do you start? Do you go strong? Do you play bench players?
Mm.
Do we go out there and try to win that game to get a higher spot, and then risk playing against a team like maybe Monterrey, who's I don't think they're much easier than Tigres in my opinion? Or do we since we say okay we already qualified to Liguilla, do we just let some bench players get some playing time? What do you guys think?
Mm,
I'm
No,
not. I'm
I
not
think
too scared of Monterrey.
No.
Who
I'm
would
not
you?
either.
I mean, okay.
I mean, people
Yeah.
say
Who would
like,
you
"Oh,
rather go to?
Monterrey," but look how they've been playing. This is just now. Like Monterrey's just now barely showing up, right? We can't forget who they've lost to as well,
Mhm.
and they have a great, bench. Just as on the
Mhm.
field, they have a great bench, but money does not buy what we've seen. So obviously, like right now, everybody's like, "Oh, Monterrey sneaking up there, like aguas con Monterrey en la Liguilla." I mean, obviously, yeah, we said it's a return tournament, but I'm not like super afraid of them. I think we can take them down.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if they're the 8 and they face and they take out Santos in the first round, that's okay with me. But no, I think you want to get as high as you want in the table. This is a silly reason, but no, it's not even. It's not a silly reason. It's a real thing to think about. I mean, that position in the table tiebreaker comes into play a lot more frequently than it should.
Mm-hmm.
We've been both on the good and bad end of that in our recent liguillas, and so you want to have that. It's basically you start the llave, the 2-game set with a 1-goal lead. That's basically what that is,
Yeah.
and it comes into play. It's a kind of it's a controversial and kind of stupid, arguably, way to advance out of a deadlock, but
Mhm.
that's the rule, and it has come into play both for and against us. So you want to be at least in the top 4, top 3 to have that in your pocket.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And again, I do not think, no matter what happens in that last jornada, the matchups are not going to remain what they are now.
No. I mean, Xolos can still qualify, Pumas, Pachuca. Even Chivas needs like a four-way miracle to
They
get
need what Leon needed in the Clausura 2014 to get in, but anything's possible.
They need to beat Veracruz,
Yeah.
Monterrey to lose, Xolos to lose or draw, and to have Pachuca and Pumas draw. And mathematically, they would be in. So
Yeah.
it'd be a surprise, It'd be like, oh, Chivas, but the thing is, can they compete in, do they have
I
what
don't
it
think they
takes?
can.
I don't think so.
I don't
I mean,
think they can.
unless
Boy,
they,
boy,
like, won trophies,
now I don't want a Tigres match. I do not want a Tigres matchup, but boy, would I love a Chivas matchup. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing I was gonna ask. Who would you guys rather face?
Ah,
Who would you face? Who would you like to face? If you
Louis,
had to pick
anybody
one.
except anybody but Tigres.
No,
in the first round.
ideally, I'd
round,
love for
right?
us to beat. I'd love for us to beat Tijuana, climb up to 3rd or 2nd, and get either Querétaro, Necaxa, or Morelia, because those teams do not strike me as
Mhm.
they strike me as having surprisingly good regular seasons and then not being able to hack it in Liguilla. And also all of those trips are very, very close for me. So yeah.
Convenient.
Yeah, I'd have to go with the same teams. I have to
Yeah.
go with the same teams as Louis because I don't think those teams are playoff tested. Every other team
Yeah.
above us in the top of the standings, they're playoff tested, with the exception of maybe Necaxa.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
Necaxa
Necaxa.
can have the potential of being that dark horse. I think people are sleeping on Necaxa. People would be like, "Oh, Querétaro." No, I think people are sleeping on Necaxa. Maxi Salas, Chicote, Angulo. You have players
Quiroga.
that,
Quiroga,
Quiroga,
yeah.
who has been phenomenal this season. You have players that can be
After
on danger.
Santos, Necaxa has been the one that's played the best.
Mhm.
Even though we beat them, but we still
Yeah.
acknowledge
They still
that they are a team that can definitely do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
Quiroga is on fire.
this season Quiroga has been phenomenal early. So I think but I would like a matchup with Morelia just because it was interesting. But if I had to choose, I think it'd be Querétaro because they've had surprisingly, like Louis said, a good season. But are they Liguilla tested? Can they hold up to a team that can potentially have a great Liguilla compared to last season?
We were talking with Brian from Morelia last time, and I thought I mentioned that I think Morelia, among the teams fighting just to get in, have looked like the team that's played the best.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But man, they needed a miracle to come back at home to beat Puebla the other day, and they didn't look good for a lot of that match. They have holes, they have problems. They if I had to pick between one of the three that I just mentioned, maybe Morelia would be the top choice out of all of them.
Yeah.
Although I like our chances against Gallos too.
Right.
I would really like our chances against Gallos. They've
Yeah.
kind of fallen off a bit too.
Yeah.
They're well coached and they have a lot of talent, but they've kind of, I don't think they're going to do much in Liguilla.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same feeling.
I think if I had to pick two, I would go with Querétaro too. And not just because of this season, but in previous seasons, I remember there was this one season, I think, when Querétaro was doing very, very good. I think was it when, like, way back, like when I think it was when Ronaldinho was there, and they were doing really good. But then came Liguilla,
Mm-hmm.
and se desmoronaron. Like it's a different thing. But just like you guys say, like they're not Liguilla. One thing is the regular season, and we know it's another different thing is Liguilla. So
Yeah.
if for me, of the ones that we was talking about, like Necaxa and Morelia, for me, I will be more wary of obviously Necaxa, but Morelia too because of they're like the dark horse to me, like of this like last stretch of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a
So
terrible start, and then somehow they just turned it on.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to face them.
It'll be interesting. I mean, like Louis said, right now nothing's really established, so it's really going to come down to what happens. Last jornada. What that looks like, and we'll talk more about it next week when we do that whole preview versus Cholos and Liguilla and how different scenarios and miracles need to happen for some teams. And I mean, it's going to be, I feel like this season, for some reason, it's going to be a great Liguilla. Like, you can't underestimate any team. Obviously, Santos a good season. Necaxa a good season. America has been up there, Morelia, has been surprising this season, like we've said. Monterrey is really, climbing up there. Tigres, the snooze fest, as we all know. Querétaro, surprisingly, has been up top. So I think it's pretty much open to any team at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, and it's nice to see all the small market clubs in there. They're being a factor. That's good for us. I
Not
mean,
that not the
we're a
usual
fairly
stuff.
small market club too. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I appreciate when a lot of small market clubs do well. It's a nice thing about our league.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
weekend Pumas depended on themselves, right?
Yeah.
And against Juarez, and they couldn't pull that through.
Oh,
So
they laid an egg.
Penalty.
They
I
absolutely
was
laid
not
an. I mean,
surprised.
credit to Juarez. I don't remember who it was, but I was watching that game on my phone in the orchestra pit at the Teatro Bicentenario in León when I was playing opera, and it was a golazo. It was. I mean, it was credit to Juarez. I mean, credit to all these teams who aren't playing for anything, but still,
Mhm.
still fighting, not
Yeah.
making it easy on anybody.
I
Definitely.
think it was Esquivel, if I
Esquivel, that's right.
remember.
Who's an outside back, if I'm not mistaken. He won the ball and very unconventionally in the midfield after falling down, got up, ran, and just scored a screamer.
Dribble passing.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the way
And
to do it, man.
Pumas. I mean, but good because Pumas really the way they've played, they don't deserve it.
No, I mean we've
Yeah.
seen how they barely scraped in that game against America. The first they killed them. So Pumas
Yeah.
has always been that team that they kind of start off good and then they kind of slow down and then they just like season after
Boom.
season, like I don't know, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it hasn't been very exciting football. You know, it's they need a reconstruction.
I don't know if good players just don't want to play there, or if they just, I mean,
Mhm.
they don't invest. Their management is poor. I don't know. Again, that's a problem for their bloggers, not ours. But
Yeah, we'll see if we can
but
find a Pumas
but
person
but
out
they
there.
but for being one of the traditional cuatro grandes, they've looked anything but,
Yeah,
Mhm.
in recent years.
yeah.
Like it's not like Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul spends, I think they have like the fifth highest payroll in all of Liga MX, and it just, they have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
No,
Could
no.
you imagine what we could do if we had that kind of money?
Mhm.
Mm.
Just saying,
I
Yeah.
mean, I think so far
like
we've been able to
what it could
manage
be.
well. You know,
Mhm.
especially
Yeah, I mean we did well.
become
I'm just saying, like if we've been able to uh not just like don't spend big, but we've been able to spend well enough that we've been
No,
able to be
yeah,
successful.
we're the Moneyball Oakland A's of Liga MX. Yeah, I mean, they found pieces that will work for their system that didn't work elsewhere, and they got them on the cheap. I mean, we got Mena for free. I
literally
think I
Yeah.
mentioned that
on the
before.
bench for Cruz
We,
Azul. Like,
I mentioned that before, but we got him for free, and then he was the top scorer in the league last season.
how
That's
jealous do you think Cruz Azul fans were? Like, raging mad. Like, we
Mhm.
had
oh
this
yeah.
angel in our bench the whole time,
What?
and look what happened. JJ, I've
Because
been
they
really
actually didn't.
going.
Yeah, because they didn't want him to leave either, Mena. Like even though he was an bench,
Mhm.
because the Sul fans actually liked him, but they didn't want him to leave. At least
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. Yeah,
but he fell out of favor with
with Caixinha.
see, yeah, Caixinha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Siboldi, but no, Siboldi is dead now. Yeah.
So there you have it. Ligia at the moment, anything can change. Obviously, we're waiting on last jornada of the season, kind of seeing how that shifts on the table. Will we have miracles coming through for some teams and how each team prepares? I mean, to be continued. Let's see.
I guess.
Ivan has showed up on the chat. He was saying the Mexican Messi line is how the press kept inflating him. LOL. See what's happened. Yes, we've definitely mentioned that. Also said exactly how Cari said it. It's home. Home is Leon. Um, Alvaro Vaquero said, "Y'all don't have Chivas smoke in the league. Y'all don't want Chivas smoke in the league."
Mm. Come on.
I mean,
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do, because it'll be so much fun to see them crash and burn.
Yeah.
Dylan said, "Hey,
Yeah.
Cari. Hey, Dylan. Thanks for joining on the chat." And Ivan had a question for us. Any idea why Mena is in poor form for the season? I
Well,
think he's had up and
it was.
down.
Yeah,
Poor
I
is
mean,
probably a
it,
is probably a strong word.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't think he's been
yeah, I
poor.
don't think he's been poor. He's been regular. Like
Yeah, I mean,
compared to
last
last season,
season
like
it would be impossible to match last
yeah,
season's production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like that was a one time in a lifetime season, like for
Yeah.
for men.
yeah,
Like there is no way he was gonna repeat that. Like everything just came together. It
The
was not
stars
just him.
aligned
It
for
was the
him.
team. Yeah.
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 Definitely. So, I mean, he's been great. He hasn't been, the amazing, like you said, angel
That's
last season of, assists and goals.
unstoppable. Like last season.
I think he's been good. It's just people know what's going to happen on men on the wing, so they've kind of managed to constrict him a little bit, and
Hmm.
he's had it a little bit hard this season. But I mean, other than that, Mena puts in work, and I'm hoping he stays healthy and he doesn't get cold feet for Ligia comes because it was something that was mentioned last season, and
Yeah.
um,
See,
so
what I said that I thought was gonna happen, that's what happened. Like at the beginning when the season started, that he wasn't gonna be able to replicate last season's form,
mhm.
and then the the scoring was gonna be more distributed rather than be all concentrated on him. And
Hmm.
that's basically what happened. Like we see JJ Macias, we see Sosa, and we see
Hmm.
Mena, we see Meneses there. Like they're all like not very far away from each other. Like
Yeah.
They're all
And the scoring has been distributed until the last match of the jornada when Santos scored 3. León was going to finish the jornada as the mejor ofensivo. So they're still in their, I think at 30 something, 34 or something like that.
Hmm.
36.
Still 36.
Which
Still
guys?
one of the best offensive,
Impressive.
the second best offensive team and second best goal differential, I think.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
isn't it like crazy? Like we've been talking about how Leon has been up and down the season, but yet they have managed to score 36 goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if we're talking about like in the Matosas days, even back in the Matosas days, the match, a team by Matosas score was 34, I believe. If
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Anyway, the
Yeah, I mean, I
what
think
about
the bar was just set so high with
Yeah.
with last season, and there was no way. Not just Mena, the whole team was not going to be able to replicate the season that they had, the regular season that they had last year. But if we'd had this season coming off of the season before last, instead of the last season that we had, people would be talking about this season like an amazing, resounding success.
Yeah.
It's just that last season was it came out of nowhere and was so good.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to replicate, to live up to that standard 2 seasons in a row. But they're going to finish the calendar year as the top point accumulating team in
Mhm.
Mexico,
Hmm.
and that
if,
is an
if
admirable
we're
stat.
mhm,
Definitely.
if we're talking about scoring wise, they almost replicated what they did last year. Last year, it was in regular season, it was 41 goals. This year it's 36,
With
and
one more
so
match to
it's
go.
17 jornadas. So
Hmm.
yeah, with one more game extra. But so if so, arguably, if we still have like 18 teams and 19 teams, this last game would have been the last game. So they were only away, see, 5 goals away from matching scoring wise what they did last year.
Hmm.
Like, isn't that incredible? Like how, like, even though we have had ups and downs, we are
And
5 goals away from
injuries
matching
too.
our last. Yeah, with
I
injury.
think I think we could have surpassed that easily if we would have just scored more and won our doble jornada game.
Yes.
That's that where that gap is at, you know?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, and I was gonna say too. So so you know how so far Leon. Now we're talking about like we were talking about Liguilla.
mhm.
Since we came back uh to the first division, we qualified to I believe like 9 Liguillas, and the on- the only coach so far that had done like 2 Liguillas in a row, which was in the Campeonato, he qualified to 2 Liguillas in a row was Matosas until now.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay.
as of now, just Saturday, and Breeze became the second coach to qualify to Liguilla
Back to back.
like back to back since
Mm.
Matos. That
Yeah.
just goes to show you like how well, even though we have our ups and downs this season, just how well this team is doing.
Hmm.
Like as compared to the other teams that we have in the past.
Yeah.
Not only that, so how Louis was talking about like that this year we and the whole year we accumulated 71 points in the whole year.
Yep.
That is the most points that we of any team, even Matosas, like even under Matosas tenure
Hmm.
that accumulated in the like this team. If you would compare it with even in the heydays of Matosas,
Yeah.
it's so much above, and that's incredible to me. This that we have so much but we still keep the same level, even though it's a second season. And usually León,
Has a ups and
en una
downs
segunda
Yeah.
temporada se
seasons.
baja.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
if
still
it's
there.
I don't know if it's the same level, but it's still a very, very high level.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
but
they can still surpass in Liguilla. I mean, if they doesn't matter, no one's going to care what this regular season was, if they go on and win the title in Liguilla, it'll still be a better season than last season was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that was all my two.
But yeah, I mean that's just how it is right now. We have faith. We're very hopeful. Getting everybody back and after international break, healthy, everybody prepared mentally. Knowing that this time around we have to make it happen. Everybody has to put in work and hopefully get la octava. I mean that's what we wanted last season. It would be a perfect season last season, but hey, we've maintained this level, whether we had ups and downs, especially in the jornadas. But I think we know that we have a great coach that hopefully will kind of cement his lineup for Liguilla as we are wanting, that consistency. And, we hope for the best, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing that's different than last season though. Last season, the level was dropping. This season, they were talking about like Toluca, we're
Mhm.
we're on an
Yeah,
upward trend rather
yeah,
than downward.
it's true.
Yeah.
So I was
So
gonna
that's
I was gonna ask you guys a question which would probably is better fit off for the game against Tijuana.
mm,
But start thinking about your guys is who you guys think is this season's MVP.
Mm.
Do you want to leave that or let us think
We'll leave,
about
we'll
it?
leave that
Well,
for next episode.
Okay.
it was undeniably Chapo until he went down hurt.
yeah,
Um,
I believe.
Now it's
I
more
would
of a
think,
conversation. Now it's more of a conversation.
Yeah,
yeah,
Give a definitive answer on our next
next
week's show.
part.
I think.
Yeah.
yeah. We should have like end of the season award,
Awards.
MVP,
like
Yeah.
most
Like for
improved, best defender, stuff.
goalkeeper,
Yeah.
defender, midfielder,
Yeah,
forward.
Definitely work something out there. Maybe I'll make some, medals or something. I don't know. We'll get creative for sure.
Yeah.
Ivan also said, "Do you guys smell la octava?" Yeah, of course,
yeah, yes.
of course.
Well,
It's
we certainly don't want Tigres to get it, and we don't want Santos to get their seventh. So
No, no,
no,
we
Yeah.
can't have them catching up or surpassing us.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. It has to be this season, and it will be this season.
it will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
Have
So
a
that
good
was
season.
that was Liguilla at the moment. We'll definitely talk more next week when we'll preview our game versus Xolos. Talk about prediction, who's going to play, who's not going to play, depending on if our international players had any minutes with their international team. So we'll definitely talk more about that in next week's episode. Preview against Xolos, Liguilla Madness, and what we could potentially see as the matchups as the year will be just around the corner. So thank you everybody on the chat for joining. Thank you, Monkey, Marco Medina, MacPack, in good company as always.
As always.
Our friend Ivan, Alvaro, our friend Dylan. Dylan said America will be getting their 14th.
Nah,
You're funny.
Nah,
You're funny. And
Yeah,
just
that's
to end,
not sure why he'd post that comment on this podcast, but
he's looking for us to respond.
yeah,
they
not
definitely
gonna
are
give me
in the
satisfaction.
And Ivan said, would Gaito Vasquez return be ideal?
I wish.
I don't think
I wish.
Nah, not at this point.
not I don't think at this point in time. We're I think well off at the moment, but we love him and appreciate what he did for our club. So
I just would like him to come back someday. I don't know if at this time, but someday.
who knows? Who knows? Liga, I mean, Liga makes you so unpredictable sometimes. So, again, thank you guys for watching another episode of the Lions Den podcast. As you can see on our screens, you can follow us at our Twitter handles. Follow. Hold up, this way.
Yeah.
Follow Club Leon Inc. for everything you need to know about Club Leon, international players, updates on the game, anything you need to know. You have Louis down there who always attends to the games. Man, I can't get this pointing thing right. And then Jose, who's always tweeting as well as I am during the games. So we'll be back next week, giving you guys everything you need to know about Leon, rumbo a la Liguilla, and in their final game against Xolos. We'll try and see if we can get someone from Xolos to help us preview that game. That'll be fun. So Thank you guys for everybody that's watching, hearing us. This episode will be out on iTunes, and you can definitely watch this again on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. That way you guys can just, keep us every Monday night. Reminder that the Lions Den podcast will be live at 6 Pacific, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern. So we'll be here as always. Monday Night Football. Shout out to Marcelo again if you're still listening to us. Thank you, and spread the word. We're a Leon English podcast, so delivering content for everybody. Anybody speaking English wants to know about Liga MX team, we are here to represent. So thank you guys again. Carlos, Jose, Louis, nos vamos.
See you guys.
See you later.